Hello everyone, this is me Muhammad Amir and today we are going to learn systemd. The systemd you can also remember this as the system daemon or a service that starts first and then all other services starts with this service. So as I wrote here already and whatever that I am going to cover in this video, let's start from the very basic of the systemd and then we will cover the few things of systemd also like units, targets, dependencies, service failures and restart loops, and where the dependencies, where the files stored, and what are the commands of systemd, right? So now start. So the systemd is the main service manager of Linux operating system. So what systemd does, it is also a service. Basically, it this is the first service that starts when we opens or on our computer. Then the systemd service start first. Then it manages all the other services in Linux operating system. So it starts the system and runs all services after boot. So when we boot our operating system, when we boot our or on our computer, then it runs all services that need to run a operating system or to run a computer. Then let's take an example of it. So when Linux starts, systemd starts Wi-Fi, login screen, and desktop. So as you know, as I am explaining you, this whenever you open your computer or laptop, then this systemd service manager starts all services like systemd, like Wi-Fi, login screen, and desktop, and all other services which runs in background. So so this is called the systemd. Now it has few more things of systemd from and related with this, the units. So you can think like a unit. It is a type of a service. So basically, there is I also wrote here. A unit is anything systemd controls like services, mounts, timers, etc. etc. ठीक है? It means कि systemd controls services. तो unit क्या है? Unit is a anything that systemd controls like services. So as I said before, like unit is a type of service. So you can think like it is also a type of service that systemd runs. So it is a small part of it, like timers. If there is any timer is running in operating system, then that can be a unit also. So that's how you can remember this, and that's how you can understand this. Let's take an example of it. ssh.service allows remote login into the system. So ssh.service, what it is also a unit. So if you don't know what is ssh means secure shell. Means it allows another computer to connect other computer remotely. Okay, means from my this laptop I can connect any other computer with this secure shell ssh, any other computer which is available on the internet. Okay, with the help of its IP address. So this is called units. Now what is target? So target is a group of units that decides system's mode. It means target is a group of unit. Means as right now we know that we understood that the unit is a service, a type of a service, and a single service that runs by a systemd manager. And the target is a group of multiple services. So when we start our computer, then there can be multiple services. So we wrap into a one group and make them and give them and gives uh, gives the name to that file with dot target. So in this example, you can see as graphical dot target. So what it does basically, it starts desktop, display, mouse, and um, keyboard on a single execution. है ना? तो basically it just contains multiple, it just groups multiple services in a single target file. So this is called targets in systemd. Now we have dependencies. Now so whenever any service starts, there are few things like before and after. So whenever any service starts, so it decides the what must starts before another service and after service. For example, if I am running Apache server, तो क्या होगा कि if there are few things that need to run that, for example the internet should be available or the network should be available, है ना? तो तो in this case that those network related services should be run before the Apache server. So in this example, nginx service depends on network.target because the web server needs internet. What nginx, if you know the nginx, what is the nginx is a reverse proxy. So uh, basically it works on the web server. So it is a reverse proxy for the web services. So it works on the internet. To start a service of nginx, then we need network also. So before starting nginx service, we need to start network.target, and network.target can contains multiple services that are responsible for running internet in the computer. Then the nginx server will start. If there are more services that will need to start after starting the services, after starting this nginx service, means the few services can be that should start before the service, and few services can be that can start after the our this service. So in this case it works. So these are the dependencies, means a service is dependent on another service. So whenever we start that service, so the dependent services should be start first, then this service will start, right? Now what is the service failures? A service fails when it can't start or crashes. So service failures means, for example, you are running a MySQL service, fails if its config file is wrong. For example, you wrote a config file of MySQL.service. You wrote its configuration inside this file, and anyhow you did mistake, and you are starting this service, but it is failing because of the configuration has written wrong. So so this is called service failures, mean any service that you are starting which is failing. Now what is restart loop? So in restart loop, when a failed service keeps restarting again and again, means you are starting a service that is failing again and again. For example, you deployed a web server or a web server on any machine, and you did any mistake, and anyhow it is failing when you are starting. So and you set it a code, and you wrote a code that on every 5 seconds it will restart on every 5 seconds, then but it is crashing because of your wrong configuration or any other reasons. The broken web apps keeps restart every 5 seconds because it crashes at start. So this is called restart loops, means a service is starting again and again, the but it also crashing again and again. So this loops going on. Na? Now what are the where system services files are stored? So you can think like the first one is the highest priority, the ETC, user live system, the system. Then the second one is the we can say the lower priority compared to the top one, and the lowest priority, this last one. So whenever temporary, so in this directory user lib systemd system, there are default OS services that our operating system needs to run our operating system. And in this etc systemd system, user and custom services, that when a distribution and the user related configuration or the services files are restored. And in run systemd system, there are there are temporary runtime services that we can also add it, or we can also uh, modify, so that according to our need. So these kind of files stores here. Now, what is the example of it? etc systemd system my app.services. So here you can, whatever your app and other thing you can store, or your app service can present here. Now what, now here, till here we already explored. Now I am exploring this view. Now I came in the folder lib system D and then slash system. So what is there? Here you can see different services. Now I am going to see some configuration of a file, like the MongoDB, get MongoDB dot service. So these are the dependency that I was talking about. Like after when this service starts, after this network hyphen online dot target, this file will execute. After running this service, and this is also called after dependency. And then the dependency, the before dependency, means before starting this service, start the services on which this current service is depend on. So this is the unit. This is a single service. As I explained you before, unit, what is unit? A type of a service. So it is also a service. So it contains like description, MongoDB database server, documentation here, and then after, and what it wants, like when we starts the network hyphen online dot target, this file is has this file has this file need to execute when this file execute when we start MongoDB server. And then we have service. Though service, there are more properties in the configuration. I'm not going deep down into it. uh now how we can start, stop, restart, status, enable, disable the services with the help of commands. So there is a systemctl command. So in the first, we write as systemctl. Then if we want to start any service, then we write start. And whatever the service that we want to start, we write that service name. For example, I'll say docker. So now this docker will start. Now if I say docker, whatever it shows images, present images, है ना? So there are no images, and there are no containers are running. So that's how you can start and stop the services. If now I started this service, now I'm going to stop this service. Docker stop, sorry, systemctl stop docker. Now the docker is stopped but dot service, but it's triggering, but its socket is also active. It is still active. So I will stop this also. Docker dot socket. So there are simple command. Whatever the service you want to execute, enable, disable. So there are the few basics commands, the six basic command that I am going to explain. The start command that starts any service, the stop command that stops any service, the restart command that if you did any changes in the configuration of a particular service, then you starts that restart that service. That status tells the what is the status of that particular service, and then enable. If we do, if we there are options, and in enable we puts in the option here the systemctl. If we want to execute enable and then service name. This is the normal format. Okay, now if we do enable, so it means, so whenever the computer starts or whenever computer boots, then start that service. For example, if that docker service, if I start, like if I execute this command systemctl enable and the docker, then whenever I will open my computer, it will automatically start docker service. And in and if you don't want to that service start when you open your computer or boot your computer, then you just need to run the command disable the systemctl disable or docker. That's how you can that's how you can that's how you can disable or enable the command. So these are the very basic six options, or the very basic six commands of systemctl you should know as a beginner.